on this episode of Postcards.
The vivid memory I have is how destructive it was. I mean, not just for the ship, but for people.
Music is one of those things that it elicits something in me that I wouldn't normally get just on my own.
The Prairie Arts Chorale started in 1980, so 40 years that the chorale has been in existence.
Postcards is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota. Additional support provided by Margaret A. Cargill Philanthropies, Mark and Margaret Yackel-Julien on behalf of Shalom Hill Farms, a retreat and conference center in a prairie setting near Windham, Minnesota. On the web at shalomhillfarm.org. Alexandria, Minnesota, a year-round destination with hundreds of lakes, trails, and attractions for memorable vacations and events. More information at explorealex.com. The Lake Region Arts Council's Arts Calendar, an arts and cultural heritage funded digital calendar showcasing upcoming art events and opportunities for artists in West Central Minnesota. On the web at lrac4calendar.org. Playing today's new music plus your favorite hits, 96.7 Cram. Online at 967cram.com.
We were so naive and innocent. We didn't think anything bad was going to happen. The worst thing that we had in Boyd and Madison was protecting the girls from Montevideo boys or maybe some beer parties now and then.
I graduated from auto mechanic school in Canby. I knew the draft board would be on my case, so I went to the Air Force recruiter. I said, I want to be a jet engine mechanic. He said, well, right now the Air Force is plumb full. Why don't you go down and see the Navy recruiter? I said, the Navy recruiter? I said, I want to work on boats, I want to work on airplanes. He says, they got airplanes.
I had a recruiter that was pretty honest with me. I wanted to go into the Seabees because I was running heavy equipment at the time, and he says, no, he said, that's pretty rough for you. He said, why don't you get into hydraulics? So he got me into aviation hydraulics, and they lived up to it.
The recruiter from the Navy said, well, remember in the Navy, you have clean sheets and a Coke every night. And I thought clean sheets sounded pretty good rather than a foxhole.
Pretty good food. Always had a bed to sleep in. Wasn't sleeping with the snakes and whatever else out in the woods. So I feel pretty secure being on a ship.
The USS Enterprise, CVN-65, first nuclear carrier. There was a roughly 5,000 men on board. At that time, they didn't have women on board. The ship was 1,000 feet long, I think, a little over 1,000.
I made 2.5 trips over to Vietnam, and all 3 of them actually were on board the Enterprise, which was the showboat of the Navy. I mean, everything had to be polished and nothing could be out of sorts, or else you'd hear about it real quick.
I guess January 14th was a pretty big morning for all of us.
We all 3 worked a night shift, which meant we worked from 7 at night until 7 in the morning. When you get off at 7, you go to eat breakfast, which is your supper, and then you take a shower and go to bed. We were in the middle of an ORI inspection, organizational readiness. to make sure that all systems on the ship are combat ready, because the next stop would be in Vietnam.
It was a little after 8, like 20 after 8. I'd just gone to sleep, and I heard this tremendous bang.
It actually just about threw me right out of my bed. I grabbed my shoes, I grabbed my clothes, and took off. I started trying to put stuff on as I was going. I got out in the passageway, and there was people coming in that were covered with blood.
Another boom went off, and I thought, I got to get out of here.
And I knew it wasn't a drill. I went up to the flight deck, and that's when I saw the massiveness of the fire. And my first thoughts are, this boat's going to sink. And the second one is, life is short, there's no guarantees.
And I didn't know where to go. I mean, when you're on board a ship, you've got narrow hallways. And I just ran across to where I thought I was safe. Another blast went off, and it was not pretty what I saw. Then I decided I've got to work my way up front.
And when I got into my squadron, they said, well, we want you to be with your aircraft. So I said, well, that's down on the hangar deck. He says, that's fine, go down on the hangar deck and stand by your plane. If we have to move it, we'll move it. So I got down in the hangar bay, and these two big doors went shut. And I was basically in that place with my plane, and I was scared to death. I could smell jet fuel, and I knew there was something going on. I thought when that thing exploded, I thought, God, what did the Japanese attack us again? I was pretty naive. I was a farm boy, 18 years old, and didn't know a lot.
I had just been asleep a half an hour ago, and there's some things that your mind doesn't want to deal with, so you just go into kind of a stupor. And this wasn't supposed to happen, because we weren't at war. We were training. The fire got over about 11:30, somewhere in that vicinity, before noon. So it was a very relatively short-lived disaster.
When it was possible, I went up to see where my bunk was to get some of my personal stuff. Well, that room wasn't there. It was just all blasted to pieces.
Everything went to stand down, and then I wiggled my way back to my berthing areas, because I had a camera back there, and I got back up. I don't know. I went back up and got up high enough so I could overlook the flight deck and took a bunch of pictures.
This happened on January 14th, 1969, 70 miles off the coast of Hawaii. I think there was 18 separate explosions. The jet fuel and the rockets and the bombs that went off. They pushed a few planes overboard to get them out of the way when we started losing firefighting systems.
The flight deck is about 2 to 2.5 inches thick of steel, and one of the holes that got blown in there from a bomb going off made a hole 26 feet across. It looked like you took a can opener and went around a can. It just peeled the metal right down.
The deepest hole took out the laundry, which was 7 stories below the flight deck. That is one heck of a hole. The vivid memory I have is how destructive it was. I mean, not just for the ship, but for people.
28 died. That's what they claim legally now. And then I think there's 330 some that were injured. I feel that there's probably an awful lot that died premature deaths just because of the trauma, how it affected them. Back then, there was no such thing as PTSD, and we weren't in combat, so that didn't count. And then when we got out, we didn't talk about it because it wasn't socially acceptable to discuss your military, and nobody wanted to know. I didn't find out that Woody was in that fire until 2012. And I worked with him had coffee with him twice a day for over 3 years.
I didn't know what happened, what caused it, and I didn't know for years and years and years what caused the fire. I just didn't talk to anybody about it, you know. And Dennis was actually the one that kind of clued me into what exactly happened to start the fire.
You got to start these jet engines with a jumper. It's a Huffer unit, and it's got a mini jet engine on the back end of it. So you got to rev up the jet engine in order to get it running fast enough to get it started. The guy couldn't get at the hookup for his hose because the chain was in the way. When you have a launch like that, there are no excuses because you got somebody just screaming at you to get the planes launched. Because if you can't launch the first one, then the second and third ones can't be moved either because they're packed in there that tight. His exhaust was 12 to 18 inches away from a rocket, and it overheated the rocket and it started a chain reaction.
I don't think I've been to more than 2 movies since then. I don't go into theaters. I don't like being locked up in a place I don't know my way out of. I've been on the fire department for 47 years now, so since that happened, I've just always been involved in something with the fire department or fire, so I'm still active fireman.
The 3 of us are now sort of paranoid, like Lionel said. He needs to know where the exit is. Well, so do I. It's just ingrained in me since that day. When I go to an airport, and you'll always get that little whiff of jet fuel. That whiff of jet fuel takes me right back to the Enterprise.
My name is Dan Reeb. I was born and raised in Willmar, and I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been singing since I was a little kid.
From the moment I first saw you, I could not believe my eyes.
The songs that I've written so far, I've tried to encapsulate like either an idea or an experience that I've had.
If I could freeze that moment somehow, it'd be something to behold. I would keep it safe and sound, never let it go. In every high and every low, in every yes and every no, in our poverty and wealth, in our sickness and our health, I am giving you my heart till the day that do us part. Adieu. Will you say it too?
Growing up in Willmar was A lot of fun. It's a really good community for just growing up because there's a lot of fun things to do, especially when you're a kid. A lot of parks around. You can join different rec sports. I didn't start hockey until I was 15. Once you become a goalie in hockey, if you mess up and you get scored on, everybody sees. And so that was a whole new dynamic too. So I kind of enjoy that part of it, of learning to perform under pressure. And honestly, that's helped quite a bit in music because hockey fans are intense and hockey players are intense. My mom in 2017 was diagnosed with breast cancer, lymphoma specifically. It was kind of a surprise. I remember she texted me the night before and she said, "Hey, are you busy?" Which is not normally how my mom would start a conversation. So we went to Grizzlies and she just kind of broke the news, and I remember going, life's gonna be different, but it wasn't devastating at the time. I don't think it sunk in completely. The following June, my dad, the day before his 60th birthday, had a stroke. I think that's when the stuff with Dad and the stuff with Mom kind of hit me, and I kind of came to the realization that this is serious. So while he was going through that, Mom was going through chemo out at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester. And at the end of that, she had gone into remission. They were able to do a removal surgery and remove the majority of the lymph nodes and remove the majority of the cancer. And so she was cancer-free. For a while, it looked good. But after a couple months, they ran another scan and they saw that the cancer had moved into parts of her lung, parts of her spine, and a lot of her liver. And as she kind of deteriorated, I was kind of in denial about that. But we all kind of knew it was coming. Things got really bad really quick. And so they had just put her on hospice. And the hospice nurse basically said, it could be 24 hours, it could be 5 days, we're just not sure. The whole family gathered at their house and we all said our goodbyes, and it was good. Next Thursday will actually be the 1 year anniversary of that. Darkness is only dark because there's light. And so pain and ugliness are necessary for beauty to be what it is. She was the person who taught me how to love and how to care about other people and how to take other people's feelings and perspectives into account and really think about that side of things, the things that I'm not naturally attuned to thinking about, and kind of unlock that creativity in me, which ties so heavily into my music.
Times are changing and it's getting hard. As we grow older, we grow apart. But it's only in distance, it's never in heart. Forever and always, we're never too far. It was about you and me, everyone we call family. Whatever you to be, it won't ever be the same. But there's nothing I would change about you and me. Oh, everyone we call family. Whatever you used to be, it won't ever be the same. But there's nothing I would change about us. It won't ever be the same, but there's nothing I would change about us.
Music is one of those things that fits. It's a glove that fits many different hands. If you tailor the glove correctly, then to those different hands, it could feel like it was meant for them. It elicits something in me that I wouldn't normally get just on my own. learning how I fit into that. In the bigger picture of music that's so much bigger than me or my music has been a really cool journey.
What I really love about choral music is that there's this kind of sense of community, and that we're all humans up there and we're all using our voice, which is kind of the most personal instrument. It really feels like we can connect on a deeper level than just something we hear on the radio. There's those moments I find as a music educator that I call them like my chill moments, or they give you chills, and that's one of those things where it's almost impossible to describe, but it's that combination of excitement and adrenaline and passion and musicality all kind of coming together to connecting this circle of audience and performance.
My name is Antone Eric Anderson. I go by Eric, and I am a bass in the chorale and one of the original members of the Prairie Arts Chorale. I got involved with the Prairie Arts Chorale by seeing an ad in the local Marshall paper at that time, calling for singers from the whole southwestern Minnesota area to try out for this new singing group. The Prairie Arts Chorale started in 1980, so 40 years that the chorale has been in existence.
The Prairie Arts Chorale is a regional group of adult singers from the southwest, west central part of the state of Minnesota, and it's an auditioned chorale from that area. We're always open to new members. We welcome new members. It's easy to do so. You just contact myself or someone in the chorale.
Brandon Hurley grew up in Dawson, and now they've called him back to be the vocal music teacher. We're pretty excited because he brings this fresh view of music and all this energy that some of us old-timers are kind of needed.
So believe do chuko fet. You try it. So believe chuko fet. You're pros. You don't even need
I hope that audience members walk away feeling that listening to a choir is something they would hopefully do again. In programming and planning for the choir in the upcoming season, I like to show the talents and the abilities of the singers with a wide variety of music, and hope that when somebody comes to watch the Prairie Arts Chorale, they walk away thinking this is an experience I'd love to see again, and this music making is something you can't just listen to on the radio. It's something you want to be a part of.
There are not many opportunities for adults to sing in our rural area. I sang in college a lot, but after leaving college, there was no place to keep singing. Eventually, I was able to audition and join the Prairie Arts Chorale, and it gave me an opportunity to sing again.
We sing music about what we love. We sing music about what drives us, and music about things we struggle with. And I really think that dialogue and communication with the choir members itself and then singing that has kind of helped me grow as a person, and how I teach as an educator and how I conduct as a director. All of those things kind of have helped build these blocks that I use every day in my career.
Postcards is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota. Additional support provided by Margaret A. Cargill Philanthropies, Mark and Margaret Yakel-Julien on behalf of Shalom Hill Farms, a retreat and conference center in a prairie setting near Windham, Minnesota. On the web at shalomhillfarm.org. Alexandria, Minnesota, a year-round destination with hundreds of lakes, trails, and attractions for memorable vacations and events. More information at explorealex.com. The Lake Region Arts Council's Arts Calendar, an arts and cultural heritage funded digital calendar showcasing upcoming art events and opportunities for artists in West Central Minnesota. On the web at lrac4calendar.org. Playing today's new music plus your favorite hits, 96.7 Cram. Online at 967cram.com.